In this class, I'm going to cover some concepts or some key concepts which are required for our next program. Okay, the next program what we are about to do is reading an OTP from the user. Okay, SMS which comes to the user's phone, reading only the OTP number from that and displaying it here. Okay, I'm not jumping into the program because always I do this. First, we cover all the concepts which are required to do a particular program, then we do the program. So this slide I'll be using repeatedly for different concepts for different programs. Okay, so let me just get into what are the concepts which we are going to see. Initial concepts for the basic programs what we are about to witness. Okay, I'm going to only take the first three today, because for the program which I need, the next lab record which I require, lab number 4, okay, that one I think I require only the first three. Remaining three are not required for my current program. So first three only I'm going to cover today's class. Okay, it's very essential that you understand these three things in order to move further, not only for this program, in general in Android, but specifically to my program, I need these three concepts to be very clear with you guys. Okay, so please listen carefully and try to map whatever you have seen on your phone to the concepts which I am going to cover. Okay, let me begin. First thing, what is an intent? Okay, we have already used intent a little bit in all our programs what we have done so far. The first program what we did was the Fibonacci series. Okay, so we went from one activity to another activity by using that intent, and we also passed some data along with it. Okay, so for that we required intent. And in the second program what we did with services, you called a service from an activity. So you created an intent and you again called a service. Okay, so I've already covered two important concepts of intent, but then I'm going to go a little bit more in depth of what is an intent and what is an intent filter. We have used this, but we have not gone in depth of it. I need you to understand these two concepts very clearly before we proceed with any other program in Android. Okay, let me begin. First of all, what is an intent? An intent is a messaging object you can use to request an action from another app component. This is the technical definition from Android documentation, but let me break it down for you. Okay, what is a component? What is an object? You should be able to understand that. What is a component? We have seen 4 components in Android, ABCs: activity, broadcast receiver, content provider, services. These are all 4 different components of a Android application. Okay, so what is intent then? It is an object you can use to request an action from another app component. From one component to another component, you can request some action, and that is the messaging object, which means when I ask you, request you something, I put it in the WhatsApp, or when I send an SMS to you, I'm trying to contact you. Okay, my intention is to pass or request something from you. Okay, that's the idea of the keyword called intent. Okay, although intents facilitate communication between components in several ways, the major 3 use cases, we have already seen 2 of it. Okay, let me just quickly go through. There are 3 fundamental use cases. Number 1, starting an activity. We have done this in the Fibonacci program, start activity. Second one is starting a service, that we did in the last program with the music player, start a service. Last one is delivering a broadcast, which we have not done yet. We will be doing it shortly, probably in the SMS program, or if not in some other program, you will be utilizing it. So these are the 3 major fundamental use cases of intent. Okay, they facilitate communication between components. Okay, these are the major use cases or fundamental use cases we have. Okay, apart from that, there are others. Let's go through them one by one. Okay, there are 2 types of intents. That's very essential to understand this, guys, because we have been using this every day in your phone. Whenever you do something, it's all, when you click on something, something happens in your phone, means it's because of intent. Okay, let's say for example, if you're opening WhatsApp, the first page when you're opening, when you tap on the icon, your app gets launched. That also is because of an intent. Okay, and when you launch WhatsApp, the first screen what you see is an activity which shows all your chats in one screen. That's an activity. So now if somebody has messaged you, you tap on a particular user and you go to their chat screen. That's an intent which takes you to the next activity of the particular user's chat screen. Okay, that's all intents. All right, so please remember this. That's all our intents. Whatever you are moving from one place to another, whatever you see is an activity. And when you click on an activity, if some other activity is coming or some service is running or a broadcast is working, all those things are because of intent. They act like the middleman between 2 people. Okay, between two activities, between two components, to be general. So what are the different types of intents? First one is what we have already utilized, explicit intents. What do you mean by an explicit intent? Okay, so you should always understand the English meaning of that. Explicit, what will be the opposite? Implicit. Okay, so please remember that there are two types of intents. One is explicit intent, the other one is implicit intent. What is explicit intent? The name itself tells you. Okay, explicitly, if I tell you where to go next. Okay, read the technical definition, guys. Explicit intent specify which application will satisfy the intent by supplying the target app's package name or a fully qualified class name. We have given class name. If you remember how I wrote the intent, okay, I'll just show you a sample. Look at the code. Intent space I is equal to new intent. You gave from where to where. We specifically fully qualified class name. We gave the full name of the class, including the dot class extension. Okay. So from my activity, from the first activity to second activity, this is how you create an intent. If you create like this, you have a very clear way of telling go from here to here. Very, very clear. Okay, that's why it's called explicit intent, because you have explicitly told from where to where, and then you said start activity. This is an explicit intent. Okay, so please understand this. All right, so if you know where you are going, if you specifically tell me where you are going, okay, I normally give this example. Let's say that from Beeri, from AIMIT campus, I'm asking you to go to main campus of Aloysius. Okay, there are so many main campuses of Aloysius, so you know where exactly to go. That's an explicit location what I gave you. Okay, but then let's say that I'm telling you to go from Beeri campus again. I'm asking you to go to KFC. Okay, that's a particular location. Now when I tell this, okay, I did not tell you which KFC. There are three in Mangalore right now, one in Tokotu, one in I think Kadri, and one in city center. Okay, so there are three different locations. Which one I did not tell? So what will be my next question? Which KFC? Okay, because I've not explicitly told you a particular location, you automatically ask me the next question, which one? Okay, please remember that same logic applies in your phone. Okay, that's the second one, implicit intent. You do not name a specific location, but instead you are telling generally something to perform. Okay, and whoever can handle it, you tell them to take care of it, which allows a component from another app to handle it, not from your app. From one app's activity to the same app's activity, if you are going, then it is called explicit intent. Okay, now when I say implicit intent, the same example which I gave you, I'm asking you to go to KFC. When I say that, okay, you ask which one. Okay, just like that, you would have seen something in your phone also. All right, let's say that I'm sending you a link. Let's say I'm sending you the timetable URL, okay, or elective URL. I'm just sending you a URL, and I'm sending it in WhatsApp. When you tap on it, your system, your phone will ask which browser you want me to open this link in. Okay, if I send you an image, if you are downloading that image in WhatsApp, that's a different issue. But if I send a document to you, okay, when I send a document to you, let's say I'm sending a PDF file to you. All right, and if you have only one PDF handler in your phone, no problem. But if I have two, like for example, I have Google Drive, I have WPS, okay, I have PDF, Adobe PDF, like that, I have three apps installed in my phone will automatically ask, which one should I open this PDF in? Because I did not know which one to open. There are three people who can open this document. Tell me which one to open. Just like how I told you which KFC to go. There are three. Which one should I go? My next question will be that. All right. So that's an implicit way of telling. Explicitly, if I tell go to Kadri KFC, then it is specific. I'm telling that is an explicit intent. But if I'm telling you generally go to KFC, then it becomes implicit intent. Okay. I hope you follow. Same thing. Bring it to your app. Okay, in your app, I'm telling go from this activity to the second activity. Very simple. Okay, that's an explicit intent. Explicitly telling from where to where. But what is implicit then? Let me give you an example. Look at this code. Okay, I know it's a little bit big, but please note most of the code are generated here in Android, guys. Okay, so don't look at the code and think it's too big. Okay, it's actually basically small. It's the same intent which I'm creating, but look at the two parameters. Okay, I'm not telling from where to where and all. I'm just telling you are passing a parameter saying you are supposed to do an action. What is the action? Viewing action. Okay, I want you to view something. What do you want me to view? Okay, I want you to parse this URL like example.com, or if I put sac-aimit.in. Okay, something like that. If I put some URL here and I ask you to parse it, okay, and then view it. Okay, don't bother about the code. It'll automatically get generated when you type it. But I'm just asking you to focus on the keywords here. I am telling this intent, I want to view, okay, example.com. That's all. Now, when I run this, when I tap or when I say start activity of that particular intent, what will happen? Okay, my the application which you have told, the intent says, it didn't say go from my app to the other app, nothing like that. It says I want to open URL. That's all. I just want to open this particular example.com. Okay, what should I do? My system, the operating system will come into picture, and the operating system will see how many apps can open URLs. Okay, I will search for how many apps can open the URL. How will my Android OS know that a particular app can open URLs? Okay, that is why we have manifest. We declare everything in the manifest. I'll show you that shortly. Okay, so we will also be doing an app which will be able to share text. Okay, so that this concept will be clear to you. All right, so when I click on example.com, my Android operating system goes and searches for what and all applications I have which can open a URL. Let's say, for example, I've installed Chrome. Okay, and also I have installed Firefox. I also have Opera. Okay, and I have an inbuilt browser. So there are 4 apps in my phone which can open URLs. Okay, so my system is now in a confusion because there are 4 apps which can open that URL called example.com. And since I am not able to choose it, I'll give the choice to the user because it's an implicit intent. I do not know. Okay, so I'm showing you 3 or 4 apps and telling you which app should I open it in. Okay, and then you choose, okay, I want to open it with Chrome. When you open it, system will give you another choice saying always, once only, right now only. All those things are depending on the operating system. But basically that what you see open with, and it gives you a list of choices, that is because they are used an implicit intent. They do not have a specific intent of opening it with only one application. Okay, that URL can be opened with a lot of applications like Chrome or Opera. Okay, but then it is the user's choice, not the system's choice. But from first activity to second activity, if I'm going, that is not a user's choice. Okay, that when you tap on this activity, it's something in this activity, I take you from here to there. No changes, no choice is given to you. If you click on, for example, the Fibonacci program, what we did, I type the number, I type the button. It will go obviously to the second one. It will not ask which activity should I go to because it's an explicit intent. I hope you guys have understood the concept. Let me go to the next slide. Basically, when an activity A, this is the diagram I've taken from Android developers. Okay, so you see activity A is the first one. We only see how we went from one activity to another activity. That's all we saw. But they have just explained how this entire thing works. First step, in first activity, like for example, main activity in my previous program, when you clicked on the submit button, I took the number from the user and then I called something called start activity with brackets. I passed the intents object. So I've called the intent. Okay, the intent will be passed to the Android system. Okay, Android system, what is it doing? It is looking for the second one. Where should I go? You have already clearly told that it is Fibo activity dot class. So the intent is immediately passed on by the Android system to activity B and it calls on create of the second activity. This is what is the procedure. But it happens so fast that we think that nobody is there in the middle. But somebody is there in the middle, which is the Android operating system, which moves the intent from activity A to activity B. Okay, I hope this is clear, guys. This will happen quickly. This is just theoretical concept, but idea is when you start an activity, basically it is with an intent and the intent will open whichever activity you are targeting on. If it is explicit, what about if it's implicit? I do not know which one to open it. You tell me which one should I open it with. Okay, so let me just quickly go through in general, how do you create an intent? Okay, creating an intent always has a code, right? Okay, that code should contain the code is nothing but intent space I equal to new intent. When you create a new intent, basically I is nothing but an object. So once you create an object of that class, you never talk to the class anymore. You talk to the object. That's why they use the word an intent object carries information that the Android system uses to determine which component to start. So within start activity or start service, you pass the intent object, and that intent object should determine which one should I go from here to there, etc., etc. Okay, it may be the exact component name or component category. Okay, please note the word. It can be directly saying second activity dot class, or it can say open a URL. Okay, when I say second activity dot class, I'm talking to an explicit intent. When I say open this URL, I'm giving you a category. I'm giving you a category of URL. Okay, so you should be able to receive the intent plus information that the recipient component uses in order to perform that action. Okay, to properly perform that action. So let me just tell you what are the things you require in order to, or what are the things which can be part of a intent. It's not compulsory for all these things, guys. I'm only going to tell you what are the primary information which will be part of an intent. I'll go through everything, but it's not, all are not compulsory. Okay, there are a few things which are compulsory, which will change based on the scenario. But I'm going to tell you all the names. One, which component would you like to call? Component name. Okay, that's optional, but then you can just tell the name of the component which you want to start. Second one, what action do you want to perform on that component? Okay, we will see a little bit more about this in the lab record program 10 or 11, where I talk about drawer view and we use the camera or images and recording and all those things. In that one, I'll be using these primary information a little bit more. Okay, but general, you need to know a few things. That's why I'm explaining these things, right? Okay, so action is something which generic action to perform, like which one do you want, which view should I choose, or we can just say pick one. I can give you the action saying pick whichever you want to pick. Okay. Third one, data. The URI that references to the data that can be acted on, or the MIME type. Like for example, if you are trying to open an image, I should show all the apps which will be able to open image slash PNG, image slash JPG. That's called a MIME type. Okay, we will talk about it a little bit more when it comes to drawer view. Okay, but anyway, remember this. Which one should I open? The URI. Category. Okay, what type of category, in the sense, is it going to be a browser based one? Is it going to be a camera based one? Okay, all these things. Category, which additional information. It's just an additional information saying that what category does it come under. Okay, just remember when you open a PDF file. Okay, what are the apps which come for your aid? Okay, not all apps will come to open a PDF. So we should tell what category of a app should be able to open this. Okay, next, extras. This we have used. Where we have used it in Fibonacci. When you move from one activity to another and you wanted to pass the limit, how much the user has entered. Let's say, for example, he has entered 5. I have to take that 5 from one place to another. Okay, how do I do that? I just pass it as an extra. We put extra, there we get extra. Okay, so intent is like a parcel which goes from one place to another. So what and all label you put on it, based on that the parcel will reach the particular place. Okay, now when I send a parcel to a person, okay, let's say for example I send it to a particular name, okay, and a particular address, it's fine. But when a parcel comes labeled saying department of or AIMIT St.Aloysius College, and somebody sends a parcel, okay, then it becomes a confusion. Which department did they talk to? Whether it is MBA department or whether it is IT department, that depends on the content of the then. So the label, when we read, for example, there is a parcel from Computer Society of India to AIMIT St.Aloysius College. Okay, when I see this, I see the category of the person who sent it. It is Computer Society, which means it doesn't belong to MBA, it belongs to Computer Science department. So I can just send it to them. Okay, but if it is very general, then we'll ask to pick one department or to pick a particular person whom this parcel belongs to. Okay, these are things called as category, guys. Okay, next one, extras. Okay, I've already discussed that also. Key value pairs that carry additional information, narrowing it down. For example, if the message says to Dean, Department of IT, then it is very clear whom it should go to. Okay, but who's the dean? That's a separate thing. But the category is clear. The extra part is clear. Then what do you do with that additional information is in your hands. Okay. Last one is flag. Most of the time we do not use it, but there are some scenarios we use the flag which is passed. Okay, which is like a metadata for the intent. Okay, which we will not right now tell. Okay, but sometimes in your parcel on the top they'll say do not fold. Okay, or we can say that there are the fragile items are there, like glass and all are there. Okay, that's a small metadata. We are saying do not fold this document, which means that is a very sensitive document, cannot fold it or you cannot have wrinkles on it. Okay, something like that. That's a flag which we put on a parcel. Same thing we can put on an intent also. Okay, remember this. This is or the information which is required to create an intent. That's all. Keep this in mind, guys. Let me just show you what our second keyword which I wanted to tell is intent filter. Okay, what do you mean by an intent filter? All right, intent filter is something which goes along with the same word, right? You can see the word intent, so obviously it goes along with it. Okay, intent filter. All right, so this is a very, very important concept, guys. So please do listen. Okay, it is something which we need to be very careful when we go to higher programs. Okay, it's very essential to understand what I'm telling in this slide. Okay, when we use an implicit intent, okay, please note the words which I've highlighted plus the way in which we are going through this particular code. When we use an implicit intent, okay, so what about an explicit intent? Do you use an intent filter? No. When you use an implicit intent, then only intent filter comes into picture. Okay, the Android system finds an appropriate component to start by comparing the contents of the intent to the intent filter declared in the manifest file. So where do you create an intent filter? You create it in the manifest file. Yesterday when we did the broadcast receiver program, okay, where I turned on the airplane mode and switched it off, I had created intent filters, if you remember. Okay, but when will that be called? When a particular airplane mode that broadcast has been sent. Okay, I will come to that later, but remember this is the word which I want you to focus on. Okay, when you use an implicit intent, the Android system finds an appropriate component. Like for example, I want to open a PDF file. Okay, so that is an or let's take the same URL example only we'll take. I want you to open example.com or AIMIT.edu, something like that. If I wanted to open, okay, so you know the intent. What is my intention here? To open that browser, to open that URL, sorry. I want to just open that URL. Okay, that's an implicit intent. So when I say open this URL and I give that intent to the Android operating system, what will Android do? Android will search for the appropriate component. Please note this. Android will start searching for the appropriate component. How will it compare? How will it know what are the apps which is in my phone which can open a URL? Okay, read the next statement. We'll understand that clearly. It compares the content of the intent to the intent filters declared in the manifest file of other apps on the device. Okay, now let's say I have Chrome, I have Firefox, I have Opera. All the three would have told in the manifest that I am capable of opening URLs. Okay, please remember this. All these three apps would have told that I have the capability or capacity or capability of opening a URL. I just put that in manifest and keep. Now Android OS, when it starts searching for an app which can open an URL, will come to the intent which has the intent filter which says that I can open URL. Okay, so that will be available from the manifest, and the manifest is obviously available to the operating system of your phone, which is Android. Okay, remember this. We'll move on. If the intent matches the intent filter, system starts it. Now let's say that I have only Chrome in my phone. Okay, then no questions asked, directly it opens in Chrome. Why? Because my intent matches that filter of the capacity of opening a URL. I'll directly open Chrome and start working. But after installing Chrome, I've installed Opera, okay, or UC browser or whatever it is. Okay, and when I do that, if multiple intent filters are compatible, okay, the first statement what you see here, it just tells that if it matches one intent filter, if only one app has this particular filter, I'll open that component and deliver that intent object. Very simple. But if there are multiple intent filters, what should I do? The system will display a dialog asking the user to pick which app to use. You understand what is an intent filter now? Yes. Okay. So when you see, when you see a particular dialog which comes saying that choose a particular app, then it is because you have intent filters declared. Okay. Please keep that in mind. If multiple are there, you will be shown a dialog. If there is only one, you will directly be able to take to that particular thing, but still it is an implicit intent and it is always used with intent filters. Okay. What is an intent filter then? It is an expression in an app's manifest file. Please note that manifest file comes again and again to us. Okay, that specifies the type of intents that the component would like to receive. Okay, I'll show this shortly to you, but anyway, example. For declaring an intent filter for an activity, you make it possible for other apps to directly start your activity with a certain kind of intent. Now for example, if I am creating a browser app, okay, I will tell in the intent filter saying that I will be able to open URLs. Okay, I'll be able to process URLs if you find. So next time somebody clicks on a URL, my Android system will also recognize my app as a person who can view an URL. Okay, keep that in mind. Likewise, if you do not declare any intent filter for an activity, then it can be only started with an explicit intent. Please remember that. If there is no intent filter, you cannot open an implicit intent. Okay, the two types of intents are very important, guys. If you're not able to follow right now, after this class, please sit and watch this video and read the statements put in these slides and try to understand the two types of intents and what is an intent filter. Very, very important. I've just shown a diagram here, a screenshot of some apps for you to understand what is an intent filter and what is an implicit intent. Here, you see that I put some text here, and when you click on this button, I want to share this text. Okay, please note that's the most common way you will be seeing an intent filter, and you will never say always. Okay, because while I'm sharing right now, for example, you guys will have Telegram in your phone, WhatsApp in your phone, and you find an image, you clicked a photo in your camera of the phone, not WhatsApp or Telegram. In the camera of your phone, you clicked an image or clicked a picture and you would like to share it. Okay, you would like to share it to some people in WhatsApp and some people in Telegram. You can't do it together. Okay, so first when you click on share, you'll get a big list of options. You want to share it using Gmail, you want to copy it to clipboard, okay, you want to send it through Drive, or you want to send it through WhatsApp, send it through Telegram. Like that, you get list of choices. You just choose WhatsApp and click OK. Okay, so that image will be now shared via WhatsApp. Then you come back again, you click on share. Again, the same list of things are coming. You choose Telegram now and you share it using Telegram. Now, please understand what is happening here. When you click on that share, whatever app is capable of sharing, please note also Bluetooth would come sometimes when you click on share. Okay, because the image or the file which you want, text cannot be shared through only Bluetooth. That is not recommended. But when you're sharing an image, let's say all these things will come into picture. Bluetooth, Drive, email, Facebook, Gmail, Google Plus, okay, LinkedIn, Messenger, Facebook, WhatsApp, all these things will come when you're sharing something. Okay, so you have to choose appropriately because all these apps which you see are capable of sharing. Please understand that. They are all telling Android operating system that I have a capacity to share. How do you share? Where do you share? All those things are secondary. For example, Bluetooth. Okay, sharing via Bluetooth will not reach a global audience. It will reach only 10 meters, but it is sharing. It says that I'm capable of sharing. So I give the choice to the user. Would you like to share this image within a particular area, or you want to share it in mail, or you want to share it in Messenger, or you want to share it as a MMS, or you want to share it as WhatsApp or Telegram? That I give it to the user. That's called an implicit intent. And what you see here are the apps which have mentioned sharing in their intent filter. Okay. Now, when I tap on Facebook, what screen will I see? That's called an intent. And the filter is that I am able to share. I hope you got it what I'm saying, right? That's called a filter. All right. This is intent and intent filter. I hope you have understood it. If not, please do refer this slide once again and let me know if you have any queries. Okay. Next concept, which is very, very essential and important, not only for this program, guys, any programs, what and all we require will be accessing this particular concept. Okay, not only this, content provider also, not broadcast receiver, content provider also, I will be requiring this particular concept called permission. Okay, most of you would have come across this in your Android phone. Right from the day one, when you start using Android phones, this permission would have been with you. Okay, every time you try to access something, your system will say, are you sure? Okay, or do you want to allow this particular app wants to access your contacts, this app wants to use your camera, allow, deny. Okay, you have to ask permissions with the system earlier, but earlier it was not the case. Okay, it's a little bit different now, but let me just go through. App permissions help you support user privacy. Okay, why did permissions come into picture? Is because people were trying to take advantage of people who did not know about the security features of Android. Okay, I'll explain that in a short while, but please understand, permissions is a very important concept. You need to understand the code which I'm about to show you. So for that, a small build up for that. Okay, user privacy was important, and every version they come up with, the privacy is becoming a little bit more priority. Okay, and the code what we are supposed to write is becoming a little bit more complicated because the level of security which the users want to give. Now, why should I keep security? Okay, where should be the restrictions put on? Restrictions can be put in two ways. One, restricted data. Like for example, your system states, your contact information, okay, your SMS. Okay, these and all are data which the user or the app will consume. For example, Truecaller is the best example for an app which consumes only your data. Okay, how does Truecaller work? You all know that it picks the data from your phone. Okay, your contact information from your phone and stores it in its database, which means you have given access to data from your phone, and you have told Truecaller you can use this. So once Truecaller could pick this up, it kept the data in its database. So somebody else calls those numbers, it will show this particular contact name, what you have stored on your phone. Okay, that is restricted data. Okay, please understand that. Now, second one is restricted actions. Okay, data and action. What is restricted data? Like your phone's contact, phone's information like SMS, okay, or phone's state. These are restricted data. But what is restricted action? Like connecting to a paired device, recording audio, recording or taking a picture. These are not data. That's an action. Using the camera, that's an action. Sharing the image is data. The action is whether I should allow you to access the camera. What do you do using the camera? Click a picture, record a video. That and all are actions. Once you finish clicking the picture, that becomes data. I hope you follow. Okay, so the data should be restricted, action should be restricted. Okay, that restrictions and all come as part of your Android operating system. So how will I access the camera of the phone? Let's say, for example, I'm creating an app which requires the camera of the phone so that they can scan and send me something or something like that. Okay, in that case, I need to ask permission. Okay, please understand that. When you install WhatsApp for the first time, WhatsApp asks you basically three permissions. First of all, first permission what WhatsApp will ask you is whether I can read and send SMS. Why? Because I'm going to read the OTP which comes to your phone to verify your process. After the OTP verification is done, then I go to the next part. When I'm about to use WhatsApp, then it tells you I want to access your contacts so that I can tell you who is sending SMS, who is sending the message in WhatsApp and all those things. So I'll ask your contacts. Then I ask storage. I want to store data in your phone, like the database, the images, what the user sends, the audio, what the user sends, the messages, what you send. I want to store that data, which means I require permission to access your storage. Okay, like that, I keep asking information. I ask permission to do each and everything in your phone. Okay, that is data. And then when you are trying to open the camera for the first time through WhatsApp, WhatsApp will tell WhatsApp wants to access your camera. Would you like to allow? I say yes. Then I proceed with the camera. If I click no, I'll not be able to record or take a picture via WhatsApp. I have to take it separately, then send it through WhatsApp, like that. Okay, so this is permissions. I hope you have seen this a lot of times. Okay, every app has been restricted to data and action by Android in the latest phones. Okay, this is the permissions workflow. Okay, please understand that. What do you mean by a workflow? Regarding permissions, just look at the first dialog. Can you provide functionality without declaring permissions? Which means whatever app we have done so far, like the service app and the Fibonacci app, all these apps do not require any permission from the user because we are not changing anything in their phone, neither are we taking anything from their phone. Okay, if you run my app, I'll be able to show you some data. That's it. Which means my app can provide my functionality without asking for permissions. I hope you follow that, right? So if I'm able to provide functionality without declaring permission, fulfill the use case without permission, then you can continue. You can entirely ignore this concept. If you don't require permission from the user, okay, then we can entirely ignore it. If it's no, you should have permissions, then we'll go declare permissions in your app's manifest file. Please note that, guys. You have to declare your permission. What and all permissions you are going to ask, you have to declare it in a manifest file. Then, is the permission a runtime permission? Okay, if it is yes, request the user to grant that permission. If it is no, directly continue with your app. Okay, why is that yes, no coming? Because please note, all these restrictions started recently. These permissions became a big headache for the developers recently, because a lot of questions have been asked how apps are accessing our data. Okay, and a lot of cases are going on. I think you would have seen that how Google has been questioned for taking information from the user, how WhatsApp is right now encrypting and changing its user policy. Lot of things have been changed, and people are now aware that Google and Facebook and WhatsApp and all are taking our data and processing it. Okay, they are analyzing data every now and then. That's why I think recently, you know, that there's an app called Signal which became very popular because WhatsApp is consuming our data. Okay, so like that, a lot of issues came. Then recently it started. Earlier we didn't have this issue. That's why I want you to see what are the types of permissions available. Okay, starting with number one, install time permissions. Okay, what do you mean by install time? Most of you would have seen in old phones, I think below Marshmallow. Okay, if you're having a phone which is below Marshmallow, when you go to the Google Play Store and install a particular app, okay, what and all permissions are required by that app will be given in a big list in the beginning itself. You'll see a big list of permissions needed. You have to click agree. If you click agree, it will install the app. Otherwise, it will not install the app at all. And after you have installed the app, it will not ask any permission from you because it has asked all possible permissions in the beginning itself from you. That's called install time permissions. Okay. Secondly, runtime permission. Nowadays, what you see is runtime permission, which means when you are trying to access a particular resource, then I ask permission. Are you sure you want to allow this user to access this data, etc., etc.? That is runtime permission. Last one, special permission, that is only taken by the manufacturer. It's between the Android system and your original equipment manufacturer. So we will not discuss much about the special permissions because it will be already given. You need not write anything, but it is there. Okay, so each permissions type indicates the scope of your data, restricted data that your app can access, the scope of the restricted actions that your app can perform when the system grants your app that particular permission. Okay, let me just go into first type, install time permissions. Okay, starting from Android 6.0, which means API level 23 and above. Users are not asked for permissions at the time of installation. Rather, you have to request them at runtime. Please remember that transition. Till people who are using API level 22, you do not have an issue with permissions. Okay, all you need to tell is in the manifest that I need these permissions. All those permissions will be taken before even you install the app on your phone. But after 6.0 or API level 23 and above, okay, you have to ask permission from the user every time a specific or restricted data needs to be accessed or restricted action needs to be performed. Okay, only the permissions that are defined in the manifest file can be requested at runtime also, even now. Okay, even now, even API level 30 or 31, whatever you are going right now, you have to declare all this in the manifest. Very important. Okay, if the user accepts the permission, app is installed, else the app installation is cancelled. This is how it was till API level 22. Please remember that number, API level. Okay, most of you would have remembered this kind of a screen in the earlier times. Not now. Now you don't get this. When you click on install, it starts installing immediately nowadays. Okay, but earlier you would have seen a message like this, that this app wants to access contacts, location, microphone. You have to click accept. If you click on nothing else is there, you see. If you click on accept, all these permissions will be given to your app. You continue. That is install time permissions. Okay, that is enough. Please remember that. Declaring that required permission in the manifest file is enough if you are targeting a phone which is API level 22 or lesser. Please note 22 or below that. But if it is 23 and above, you have to write runtime permission. Okay. So for API level 23 and above, declaring in manifest is compulsory. Plus one more addition, you have to request the same permission during runtime. Please understand this, guys. Okay, we will obviously target the latest version, isn't it? So when we are targeting level 30, API level 30, how am I supposed to write the code? I'm supposed to request permission in manifest, plus I have to request them during runtime also. Why am I doing these two? Those phones which are lesser than 23, okay, will automatically ask this permission in the beginning of the installation itself. So you don't have to give permissions explicitly. Okay, but if the user which is installing your app has a latest phone, what will happen? In the manifest I'll be there, but when you try to access that particular resource or the data or action you want to perform, Android app should again request the user for the permission during runtime. Okay, so the syntax what I'm about to show you is only for install time permissions. You have to add this only in the manifest file. That's enough if you are targeting an older version of the phone. Look at the code. It is XML. Manifest is XML. You remember that, right? So only this is enough. If you want to, for example, ask for a particular permission, you just need to write this tag called uses permission, Android : name, whatever permission name you want to call. Okay, let me give you some examples. Look at this 3 examples what I've put here. Uses permission, Android : name. This I'll be using in the next program. That's why I'm showing this. Send SMS, read SMS, access the camera of the phone. Okay, so these are the permissions which I've taken from the user in the manifest. Okay, this is in the manifest. Now, next what I'm going to show you is through the code. So this is important, guys. Remember, this is compulsory whether you are targeting the latest phone or an old phone. Okay, doesn't matter. This is compulsory. Okay. Declaring in manifest. That's the only thing which is required if it is install time permissions. Second one, runtime permission, which is the recent one. Okay, so what are the steps involved in getting runtime permission? First step, I've already told you, you have to add it in the manifest. Okay, then after that, what are the things we'll see? Step 1, I've already told you, declare the permission in the Android manifest file. Do not forget this. This is the starting step. If you do this much is enough for an old phone. For new phone, this is just the first step. Second step, modify your layout or design in such a way that when you reach that particular activity, I should request permission. Like for example, when you have installed WhatsApp for the first time and you go to the part where you record audio, you want to send a voice message. When you tap on that record button, WhatsApp will ask, WhatsApp wants to access your microphone. Allow, deny. You click on allow, I do it. So where did that request come? When I tapped or when I clicked on the record button. Okay, so write that code, whatever code I'm about to write. Where should you write? Request permission on a click or a double click or a button click or when a swipe or something is happening. Okay, on a particular action, I've just given an example as button click. So when you click on a button, request the permission programmatically. Okay, so while you're requesting the permission, what is the step 3? Check if the permission is already given or not. Okay, this is the way I'll be writing the code, guys. I'll show the code shortly to you, but understand this. Check if the permission is granted or not. Okay, when you do this, automatically your system will give you a suggestion to check if the code of the build version of your phone is Marshmallow. Okay, greater than or equal to Marshmallow, only this is required. If it is lesser than Marshmallow, you don't require this at all. So our system will automatically add. I've not added in the step, but I'll show the code to you. Remember this. The first condition is check whether your phone is greater than or equal to Marshmallow. Only from that Marshmallow onwards, this permission or security thing became a little bit more serious. Okay, so step 3, you are checking whether the permission is already granted or not. Okay, if it is granted means you don't have anything, continue with your work. But if it is not granted, you should request the user for the permission. Request user for permission. So step 3, check yourself for permissions. Step 4, if the permission is already granted, no problem. If it is not granted, then request the permission. With that we can stop. But then you should also know whether the user clicked on allow or deny, isn't it? Like for example, you want to record a voice. Okay, you clicked on the microphone button in WhatsApp. WhatsApp asks you this particular thing. WhatsApp wants to access your microphone. You clicked on allow. I should continue properly. If you clicked on deny, what should happen? Okay, so that is the next step. Override the result of that permission and perform appropriate action. If you clicked on allow, what am I supposed to do? If you clicked on deny, what am I supposed to do? This is your appropriate action. Please remember that. I'll show that in code shortly and then I'll stop. This is the code, guys. Very simple. Okay, it looks big. Please note, none of this I'll be typing. It'll be generated. Only a few things I'll be typing. Okay, so look at the first block, if condition. If build version SD, this will be automatically coming, guys. I'll not type this. Okay, this I'll show you how the system will generate this for me in the next class. But just read the code and try to understand what it says. It says if the SDK is greater than equal to M. What is M? Marshmallow. If it is greater than or equal to marshmallow only, this block of code is required. What if it's less than marshmallow? Then I don't require this runtime permission. Install time is enough. I hope you follow this, right? So first condition I'm checking if it is greater than or equal to marshmallow. M stands for marshmallow here. Okay, then if it is greater than or equal to marshmallow, what am I supposed to do? If check self permission from the manifest. Why am I going to the manifest and checking? Because I told you what is the first step? Add it in the manifest. Okay, so I go to manifest and say permission for read SMS. If it is granted, please note not equal to granted. What do you mean by not equal to granted? Denied. Okay, if there is no permission to read SMS, request permission to read SMS. This is the code. Okay, so first if condition says whether it is greater than or equal to marshmallow. Second if condition checks whether the permission for reading SMS is given or if it's granted. If it is not equal to granted, then request that permission. Okay, and what is this line which is written new string and all? Okay, because you can request many permissions together. Like for example, when the first time you install an app, it will ask 2 or 3 permissions. Read contact, read SMS, read your read and write your storage. All those things will be asked. So it should be more than one request. So string array. If it is only one, it will be string. But even if I'm passing only one, you use a string array because you can pass more than one. Okay, if it's only targeting one, you will write a string, but I'm not targeting a string, I'm targeting a string array which takes more than one manifest permissions. I can just put comma and say manifest.permission.send SMS. Okay, and request code. I have put 123 here, but it is not correct. Okay, I'll tell you how to change this. You'll have to use a constant value here for SMS permission. I'll do that in the class, but I've just put 123 for your understanding right now. Okay, I'll put this in a different fashion in the program, but I've just put some number. Okay, request code is a number to map this request to a particular number, ID. Just giving like an ID card to this particular request. Okay, so this is the code. And when you run this code, what will happen? You will get a small dialog in your phone which says this app, whatever app name you have created, wants to read your SMS. Okay, allow, deny. Whether you clicked on allow or deny, we will not know with just this code, what I've written. So the next block of code, we are writing on request permissions result. Okay, don't look at the big code and get confused. This will be generated. This if condition only I'll be writing. Okay, so on request permissions result, what am I going to write here? Okay, if request code is equal to 1, 2, 3. Please note 3 things are passed. What is the request code? What are the permissions you requested? Whether they whether they were granted or not. Okay, so first question is if request code equal to 1, 2, 3. What did I send? 1, 2, 3. So when I'm receiving, I know this is the same request which I sent. Okay, this will not make sense if you have only one request to do, guys. But when your app requires more than one request, this will be very helpful to see which request code was granted. So first I take if request code equal to 1, 2, 3. And inside that I'm writing if grant results is an integer array. Okay, so I take the first value and see whether it is granted or not. If it is granted, I put a toast saying SMS permission is granted. If this one is not equal to granted, then I say permission is denied. You clicked on the allow button means this toast will come. If you clicked on the deny button, this message should come. This is the runtime permissions. Okay, please look at the code. I'll explain that in the class tomorrow. in the next class, we will discuss how to do this program and put all these concepts together to do one program in the lab record. It's lab record number 4. Okay, with this, I'll stop for today, guys.